Greetings once again, student and friends who have joined me on our Udemy classes. I'm so grateful that you've taken time to do that, and perhaps you've taken time right now to watch this video. You see, what I want to do is I want to keep in touch with you in some way about once a week. Every 7 sunsets, we need to be revitalized. Every 7 days, we need to be reminded of what is important. We need to have relationships built. I'm very, very much convinced that one of the principles of the universe is the seventh day idea. And perhaps in another presentation, we'll talk more about that. I'm very grateful in the fact that as I've just begun to do this online teaching and training after many years in international broadcasting as a business performance coach around the world, and before that a teacher, a college teacher for young adults, I now have the privilege of talking to you people. And in the brief time we've been doing this, and many more have signed up in the last week since we began to do these presentations, there's now over 3,000 of you in 115 different countries. I could never believe that I would have the opportunity to do that. Now, one of the things I'm going to confront you with, maybe even challenge you with, is you are all called to be teachers too. Go and teach, the master teacher said, and all of you have something worth sharing, worth teaching. That's why I've said, even take some of the things that you've learned in my classes or courses and steal them from me and teach them to others. One person said, the class on how to deal with your fear was so helpful that I sat down and I taught some of the people in my adult education class the 5 big fears and how you can begin to understand and deal with them. And then she said they thought I was brilliant. Well, great. That's wonderful. That's the job of a teacher, of a broadcaster, of a human being who wants the world to be better. We share good ideas. We don't worry about who gets the credit. We just hope that they are useful and helpful. Understanding that in the great eternal plan, that if we do good things, there's a very good chance that good things will come to us. So a little bit of an expression there. And another reason why I'm doing this is because I want to tell you a story. Because you're going to find out that storytelling is the only effective means of communication. And I'll be teaching a course on that. Do you want to have people believe you, follow you, buy from you, hire you? Do you want to be in a position of influencing other people in some way that'll be beneficial to them, to you, and your career? Do you? Well, obviously many of you do, because you're taking classes on that. Well, let me tell you this. Storytelling is the only effective means of communication. And one of the worst ways to communicate is through a PowerPoint. Now, that challenged you, didn't it? And we'll talk more about that later on. Again, do you see what I'm doing also as a marketer? I'm beginning to plant seeds out there where you're saying, what do you mean by that? Well, hopefully we'll come back. Well, here's the story. A number of years ago when I was teaching young adults in a high school in the United States of America, these were about 17, 18. They're in their final year of their high school preparation years. And I was primarily one of the teachers for the advanced students in the areas of history and philosophy. Those were the things I had studied and knew a little bit about. It just so happens that one day at the very start of the term, when the students had just come back, some of them had had other classes and courses, but it was the midterm of the year, and they were walking down to the cafeteria of the school. And there were a number of them who had actually been former students of mine in some other classes, and then there were some new people that I think must have had me, or at least been assigned to me for their classes for the coming term. And it was a very interesting thing I heard, because one of the ladies said, well, what do you have for history? They all had to take at least one history class. And then the other young woman turned to, I think I'm signed up for Russian and Eastern European history. I think that's the class I have. I'm not sure, but the guy who's teaching it is a Mr. Hustad. And then the woman chuckled and she said, "Let me tell you, it doesn't matter what they call it. It's Hustad." Now, what she was saying is that no matter what the class or course was, my point of view, my beliefs, my values, my interpretations are going to be a significant part of the class itself. And of course that's true. That's true of everything. Every teacher brings biases and prejudices and personalities and energies to the situation. And she was acknowledging that, you know what? There's information, but there is also the teacher and the student. And it's not just that one gives the information to the other. The relationship between the student and the teacher is vital, and that becomes as significant, if not more significant, than the information. One lady challenged me on the Udemy class and she says, "Don't give me any stories, don't give me anything about you, just give me the facts." Well, I understood what she was saying, but that's not possible. And for us to fully understand how to be good at who we are and what we do, we really need to understand that we're in the business not only of learning things together, talking about them together, sharing them with others, and what happens is it's not just a course and a class and content, it is communication. And all communication is ultimately about relationships. It's not about data. It's not about information, it is about relationships. Now, we may talk more about that later, but as I used to say on the radio late at night when I was speaking to people all over the world, just kind of let that sit on your head for a while. Well, thank you. By the way, there will be on the YouTube video, and I may link it here, I did an interesting, I think it's interesting, I'm bragging about myself, I don't mean to do that, but it's a story that I've told to many people around the world about Steve Jobs. And of course there's a brand new film out about him, very controversial, which is good, and I have a wonderful story. And remember, storytelling is the only effective means of communication. There's a story about Steve Jobs, and I think you'll find it rather interesting. Perhaps you'll check that out. Good to be in touch with you. Keep learning, keep teaching, keep studying, and most importantly right now, let's keep connected. All the best and blessings to you. I hope to talk to you again soon. Bye for now.